Hello, folks. Richard Moore, USAGSA. I've got Lorraine Valente with me. She's here. We've not showing her face. We've shown it before. You can go back to those. You'll see what she looks like. We're not doing that today, but she's here with us, and she is has an animal rescue operation in Kentucky. It's a 501(c) nonprofit, and that's alternative homesteading. And I'm going to put the link in the description of this video to her channel. And she is got a lot of expertise in training and education that qualifies her to speak on subjects that we're going to speak on right now. In the description of the video, as well as our link tree, and that'll give you links to some of our platforms that we're on, especially my Substack, where I've written extensively about these programs and tactics. Who's behind it? We named the names. And I do believe that Lorraine has a Substack as well. And so check all that stuff out. Lorraine, I appreciate you coming on this short notice. You know, I contacted you. And I sent you this photograph that I'm going to put up on the screen. And it was alarming. I mean, I know I'm not in all these groups, these shield groups. The majority of them are rabbit hole. Everybody. I've always been aware that that animal abuse was part of targeting an individual psychologically. But moreover, I've also understood it as that anything that's good, the devil hates it, and they want to destroy that into a person that they target. And of course, this program is diabolically evil. Everybody that's involved in it are diabolically evil. And this dog's mate, or not mate, but companion, was killed a little over a week ago. Now, she heard the resident heard the dog make a loud yelp noise, and then she went and nothing was there. The dog was gone. The adult dog was standing there in the front yard. Over, of course, 4, 5, 6 days, she was in the dog was a different person. I mean, a different animal. She was hanging around a spot in the front yard. And of course, they combed the yard looking for maybe the dog got hurt, but there's nothing for it to get under. And I went out there, and immediately I remember saying, "I'm going to tell you that whatever's going on is evil, it's satanic." So I started talking to that dog, he completely snapped out of like a trance-like deal. It had been reacting to drones and barking in the woods, knowing there wasn't anybody out there. I ascertained this early on that this dog was being manipulated to harass and stalk the people that were being harassed and stalked, and still are. The day that the body was discovered, I had been in and out of that place a couple of 3 times. So I left the last time and returned in about 45 minutes. And it was all of a sudden it got off on a motor. That's when somebody had apparently brought a decomposed corpse of the dog and into the trees and the woods behind the residence. And it had obviously been drug in there and so forth. I didn't see the dog, little did I know. But today, another individual was petting the adult dog, and this dog got stitches. I said, "Well, that dog had never been to a vet. It's never left this place. That dog, I don't want stitches." Once I said, "They say, man, dog got stitches. You see them there." And these stitches are not the dissolving kind. These are the nylon. They may have metallic in them. They may be a part of an antenna hooked to a device. And if there's a device in there, but there's more to this, if you know about that. And so I'm going to pitch it over to you, Lorraine. You saw the picture. Tell us, what say you?
Yes. Well, first I want to say my Substack is Lorraine Valente. My YouTube channel is Alternative Homesteading. And I do have a 501c3 nonprofit cat rescue called Freya's Cat Rescue. And I have witnessed firsthand it appears to be a satanic agenda, and it's increasing in scope across the country and actually the world. And there are groups of people that obviously target other people if they have pets or farm animals. It's not just cats and dogs. I can tell you stories. They smothered a chinchilla. They broke the neck of my canary in Manalapan, New Jersey. They used directed energy weapons on my cats. Poked the eyes out of my cats. They have implanted my cat's eyes here in rural Kentucky, Jackson County. And since I moved here, I brought 28 rescue cats with me. And of course, I adopted some when I was here. But since I'm living here in 6 years, they have poisoned, satanically abused, experimented on, run over, or shot 29 cats.
You gotta be kidding me.
I kid you not.
Overseen by the sheriff of Jackson County, Kentucky, and here
oh, no,
where we are, Lee County, Mississippi.
Nothing. And I also just to tell the subscribers here and stuff. I have been involved in animal rescue and advocate since I'm a child. Okay, I used to donate to PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and I did contact them a few years ago about what was happening here, and they contacted me right away. I had a phone conversation with them, but then they didn't get back to me. And I've heard from other people that have contacted PETA, they have been threatened to back off.
And getting PETA to back off?
Yes.
I've never heard of them backing off anything. They backed off.
And they have been threatened about these isures. Yes. So, and you don't hear about them that much in the news anymore. They're not going into.
Never heard about it. I've never heard.
They've been threatened. No, they have been threatened, and they have been gang stalked, just the way we are being.
Yeah.
Just the way we're being harassed and tormented.
Yeah.
They're actually some of their members have been harassed also. So that's just on that note. But there are a lot of reasons why people torment animals. You know, there are narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths and people with a lot of pathologies. And when they want to seek revenge on someone or get even with somebody, whether you're a targeted person or not, let's say you broke up with somebody, that somebody is a narcissist and you've got pets, they're going to go after your pets. They will steal your pets. They will kill your pets. They will adopt out your pets to somebody else. If you've got a microchip in your pet, think that you're going to be able to trace that animal back. Think again, because somebody gets your pet, they can microchip them again and register that microchip. And I do not advise anybody to microchip your pet.
No,
because
we've got a process we're taking now with this animal here, and now that that this bill is out, I hope that that no one is foolish enough to attempt to do anything else to this animal. But I'm telling you, as an animal lover, and that have had animals that have been killed, I'm just gonna tell you, it's a bad idea, and I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm if somebody wants to decide to do that, then there is a process that can be dealt with. Go ahead, Lorraine.
Well, they're also, people hire private contractors to get even with people, and they will steal your pets. And sometimes they will do things to your pets and then return them. And I think that's what happened with that little dog. Because I did see
the female dog. I kept the female dog. Let me tell you what happened. 6, 8, 9 months ago, the dog's front leg was broken. Now, it get hit. There was no nothing. It was I suspected then. I mean, just dangling. somehow or another, but the leg works now. I can't explain that, but she could walk. It's pitiful. But at that point in the deal, I said, you know, that was done intentionally. And
Yes.
some of the culprits behind this deal, there's two things. One, I observed one known snitch, a high-profile snitch. And this was maybe a year ago with this particular dog we're talking about that's alive. And she started cutting up. And he said what I already knew and been thinking, but never verbalized it. And he let it slip. He said, it's the drones. Something's on drones. I ain't been talking about drones. My ass on these clouds with these drones, these criminal perverts. So I've been talking about that, and then the constant dog bark. What's the dog barking at? I said, well, I can tell you. That is something that is being triggered to trigger you, to get you. I said, it's all psychological warfare. And I said, that's what it is. You got criminals out there that want to stay in the shadows, and it kills them when you expose them. The first thing that out of their mouth is a damn lie. The last thing out of their mouth is a damn lie. Go ahead, Lorraine.
Yeah, they can absolutely manipulate the behavior of any one of your pets and or farm animals. They can do it with directed energy weapons, implanting animals, vibrating them with nanotechnology, which gets into their skin, and it's very irritating. Their eyes will start to tear and stuff. They'll start to wheeze and stuff. But and it happened to me, and I will tell you, and I've said this to you on the phone, that from now until May 1st, these are the high witch ritual holidays. Yes. May 1st being the top on the list there. And I will tell you what happened to me on May Day, May 1st of last year. They controlled the cat that they dumped on my property. This is a cat that I was able to pet. I cut his nails, I groomed him and stuff. And then this one day, he was going to have a fight with one of my cats. I tried to break it up by putting a box between them. That cat turned into a possessed animal. And I've been rescuing cats my whole life. Feral cats that I've been able to pet, socialize with them. This cat tore me apart. Wow. And it took me months to heal my legs and my arms. However, it was under the guise they manipulated the cat to attack me, while at the same time using a directed energy weapon on my right arm to cut a triangle in my right forearm.
Right.
I had that video on YouTube. They took it down because it was because of the photo. The photo. I don't know if I can. Let me see something.
That's are you kidding? I mean,
no, I kid you not.
Well, they said it was too graphic.
Oh, it's too graphic.
I mean,
so graphic.
I'll tell you what's graphic is some of these snaggle-tooth inbreds driving around in Kias, 450 pounds, and can't get in a bathtub and don't want to get in one. That's graphic as hell. And I have to see and smell that shit every day. That's what they're running. But I put pictures of them on there, and they don't have nothing to say about that. I always thought that was a little edgy.
Those cats or dogs that it's any animal that you are attracted to, that you want, you love. They've killed my guinea. I've gone into my chicken coop and I have dead guineas lying there on the floor because somebody's going in there and harming them. You look at their bodies, there's nothing wrong with them. It's the same thing with all of my cats. Right. You look at their bodies, there's nothing wrong because they're using directed energy weapons and poisons. They're also they're doing things like if an animal is trying to get out of a house or whatever, or if an animal's outside, they can literally immobilize that animal.
I've seen this. I've seen this with the dog that we're talking about, and it's technology, AI, all these things it's neither good nor evil. It's whatever it is in the hands of good and evil people. And I'm here to tell you that this deep state corruption is hell is going to be full of people. This is bigger, broader, and deeper than I believe anybody can imagine. And I'm amazed that the folks that are aware of what we're saying here and aware in real time what these folks are doing, and in fear of their family being targeted, they won't step forward and do what red-blooded Americans should do. That's what blows my mind.
Right, they're going along to get along, and they are responsible for the downfall of this country. And this country is falling because of all of these losers that go along to get along with a satanic agenda, getting paid under the table because they're scared. They're scared little weenies, but meanwhile, they're getting paid under the table. And what's going to happen to them is they're going to be taken out too, because they know too much. They sign non-disclosure agreements, so they can't talk, right?
Right.
And then they're bound by these agreements. They're basically rat snitches and informants.
And many of them, it's a snitch culture. See something, say something. It's not see something around a power plant or see something around Fort Knox. It's you see something going on at your neighbor's house. You report it. We don't even have to have your name. I've got the local sheriff quoted that in the paper. So it's a snitch culture. And
it is a rat snitch culture, and it's unfortunate. You know, if you see something, say something.
Right.
You know,
it don't matter if it's true or not, or whatever. You might be delusional, but then when they start all the deal on a targeted individual, this chaotic chaos is, and trying to emulate the teachings of Genghis Khan. But they obviously have not studied Genghis Khan, and there's more to that story about comprehending chaos, and some people comprehend it real good. I've got a pretty good grip on it myself. That's the reason in the middle of all hell and high water they try to create, my resting heart rate remains the same. My ears don't start ringing, none of my blood pressure, none of that crap.
Well, you know, these narcissists, they're addicted to chaos. Right. And everything that they're doing to you or to me or other people is a projection. Absolutely. Because they basically hate themselves. Yeah, they hate themselves.
Now, did you study psychology? What is your field of study, Lorraine? Refresh me.
Oh, okay. So my undergraduate degree is in abnormal, deviant, and violent psychology with a concentration in addictive behaviors. And then my master's degree was basically in health psychology. And my topic of interest was medicating children diagnosed with ADHD and the negative side effects. So,
very well.
So basically, that was the psychological patterns of disease.
I was going to add this, Lorraine, that the SRA, the Satanic Ritual Abuse, of course, pets naturally react to invisible threats, electromagnetic fields, frequencies, stalking activity at a distance. Animals cannot lie. When an animal starts barking at an empty tree line or acting crazed, it validates that something is happening, even if the human eye can't see it. Animal abuse is a core of ritualistic behavior. And Satan ritual abuse, whether formalized or loosely adopted by certain community groups. Animals are symbolic substitutes. The life, innocence, and purity of animals are sacrificed or defiled to symbolically curse the human owner. And many traditions believe that killing or corrupting an innocent creature attached to a human weakens the human spiritually, opening him up for oppression. Yes. And of course, it's psychological warfare. Killing and mutilating a pet traumatizes the human target without having to physically touch the human. It signals, we own your life, your safety, your home, your emotions. It's an evil form of emotional terror, warfare. And to think that your smiling sheriff and chief of police and that fire captain and the president of the Rotary Club Kiwanis Club, and they're involved in having a safer community. Ladies and gentlemen, they know exactly what's going on. This is what they're not telling you. That when you ask a real question, they'll come with a real lie and tell you all the reasons why they're doing such and such and such and such and how bad they are. And then you forget what you started the conversation about. And they repeat this like a broke record. And corruption supports corruption.
These are hate crimes against innocent people. They want to, they're the misguided belief that whatever it is that they're told, they believe about the targeted person. And it's all lies. It's all concocted lies to fit their narrative because somebody reported me, somebody didn't like me, I pissed off the wrong person, you pissed off, and you know, all these little people, you know, and also it's about money. Everybody has an agenda. It's all about money under the table. It's total corruption.
Right.
And it's corrupt. I moved from New Jersey where I lived for 30 years. It was corrupt there. And it's even more corrupt here in rural Kentucky because everybody is in everybody else's business and they slander me. They lie. They throw dead animals on my property. When I moved here, the first year I was here, they took a pregnant rabbit, cut it in half, and stuck it in front of my front door with the umbilical cord.
Scarlet Marks and her evil, tyrannical demon posse out there. And you can tell by looking at that woman, she's crazy as hell.
Oh, and then they drowned a possum. This is more recently, at the end of last year. They drowned a possum in the county creek and just left it there for me to find. They have gone into, this is more recently, one of the cats they dumped here got pregnant, had 4 kittens. I did one videotape of them, posted on my channel. The next day, within days, one of those kittens became very sick and then died. So they did something to that kitten. And this is a pattern of whenever I post photos or videos showing that my love for an animal, whatever, these criminals,
you know, I've got animals my animals that I can't talk about it. I don't see it's difficult. It's almost impossible.
There are groups of Satanists, Luciferians right here in Jackson County, Kentucky. They perform rituals all around my property so that it won't sell. They perform rituals around my trees to cause my trees to die. They drill holes in them. It's not, and it's everything that's living.
They hate life. They hate anything that God created. And right, let me tell you, you realize these people are in these fake churches with a cool preacher that wears t-shirts and flip-flops, and these people are down with the deal of participating and torturing and traumatizing and terrorizing other citizens. And it is they've gone into these comfort zones, and they believe that because it's a mob mentality, and that they're patting each other on the back. But you know that when the dust settles and the smoke clears every day, and when all the champagne's gone, that gut wrenching whatever the hell's going on in their soul is called the devil, and they have sold their soul to the devil. They've sent one of the main perks in and knowing that my belief mechanism, which is not open for debate, and would come in and drum up a conversation that was absolute blasphemy. They coached them into blaspheming. Now, you can't say that's theater. There ain't no such thing as God loopholing blasphemy, which is not a forgivable sin in this life or the life hereafter, according to God's word. Now, when I started here, and this same individual that started contorting like a snake took on a different voice, and this was in Shannon, Mississippi. I absolutely, just like you do an exorcism, And I claimed and called the name of Jesus, the blood of Jesus, and pointed to the door and said, right now is the time for you to get. And I recognized it instantly, had been. But this is, these people go to church, Lorraine. And these people, they got these rehabs and all this kind of stuff, fake, phony, and demonic. And the product of what they're doing is the things we're talking about today. But usually the person that's talking about, oh, they're just crazy. And but every now and then, they can't. That crazy story is not selling as good as they like it, and they will quadruple that, whatever they have to do. Like they've tried everything, and so be it.
Well, it's already been proven in criminal textbooks, psychology textbooks, and stuff that harming animals is a precursor to harming humans.
Absolutely, I discussed that in one of my videos recently. That FBI, they record and track animal cruelty along with rape and other things and homicide because it is a precursor crime.
Absolutely.
Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Common thread.
It is a common thread, and they like to prey on those that are vulnerable. And obviously, an animal can't talk back. That dog that you heard crying was because it was probably being assaulted. And this is something people need to understand about how they steal your pets. Sometimes the person is wearing a cloaking invisibility suit so that they can enter your property and you're not physically seeing them. Animals are smart, they're very intuitive, and they sense that something's around them. Imagine the terror of an animal being lifted up by something they can't see.
Right.
And this has happened here on my property to one of my cats.
I got a suggestion on that. Motion detectors, it's hard for them to defeat a motion detector unless they're levitating. And those, there's the simple devices. I've seen on Ring cameras, they can't beat the sound. Now they can beat the vision, but the sound is something that they have trouble with. I could, in one clip, where this camera was stationed, it had a good rain, it already rained in the past, and this area was gravel and red clay mixed, and I could hear footsteps. And then I got to looking, and I could see the foot imprint in the dirt going right across. I saved that. I still have that. And I've got about 10 terabytes of data that one day I may get to, or may not. I've got it. And I said, I've done it. I said, and I had a couple other people look at it. Don Coates, I said, tell me what's going on with this. So I hear somebody walking, I believe, and I just wait, and they see it. It's not the video's not distorted. It's not pixelating. None of that. And so that I don't know how they did it, and furthermore, don't give a damn how they did it. I'm just telling you that they claim, Lorraine, that what they're doing is legal. And no, it's not. And when you really get like this Fusion Center lawsuit, they are not. They're not going to do it, and it's even getting more corrupt now, and making it more difficult for those that are targeted between 4 and 8 million annually to ever see justice or due process. In other words, they are denying millions of Americans their constitutional right, their God-given right. It's not a privilege. That's being systematically denied and abused by those that swore an oath to protect it.
Right, it's their job security. It's their job security. We are their cash cow. Everything about us, they're banking on. They're banking on us from the time that they're going to unalive us with fake insurance policies, real estate mobbing, trying to steal property, harming your family contacts, your support system with your animals, etc. and stuff. But for your subscribers, you have to know that the technology is so advanced.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. This technology, the DARPA, Homeland Security, Department of Defense,
yes,
that's where that is from. Every when you look at your telephone, that touch screen, that is a DARPA invention. Okay, and let me tell you, I've got a friend of mine that I'm trying to think. I've never think of that. They're big military contractors. They make airplane engines, and Lockheed Martin. And I was talking about this. His other half. He said, I wasn't aware of that, and that's where she used to work for DARPA. Now she's a high-ranking official at Lockheed Martin, and maybe that's why they've streamlined and up the ante on my deal. Anyway, those two individuals, private and public companies, are doing things, and the technology, folks, of that it's unfathomable is there and it's real. You just can't get it at Walmart, but you can get people at Walmart to work for somebody that has access to it, apparently.
Well, you know, a lot of people have access to these materials, and also the Department of Defense. They systemically are constantly creating new technology. And what do they do with the old technology? What do they do is they auction it off or put it out there to police departments, private contractors, the highest bidder.
So now the sheriff department with drones with FLIR technology, and they flying around or hanging out there, or like they're doing out here. They got these I forgot what to call it, but they're these tethered drones. It's a
military grade
cable, and they're all sitting up there and all that, and peeping Toming, but that's not all they're doing. They'll tell you, well, we can do that. It's legal, okay, and it is. But the other 99 things out of the 100 that you're doing and you're not telling is not legal, and then they won't change the subject or act like they were talking about. That's why it's almost impossible to get the name of just one of the drone operators. They make sure that they gonna want everything and threaten somebody with the inch of their life if they're others.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, the cat's out of the box on something. Well, as far as my
drone is a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
But military grade technology is getting into the wrong hands. It's trickling into local law enforcement departments, your Freemason lodges, private contractors. You can go online, and there are groups that you can hire, revengeforhire.com.
Yeah.
So if you don't like somebody, if you broke up with somebody 20 years ago and you want to get even with them,
right,
you can hire a private contractor or place somebody on a watch list. I mean, this is absolutely absurd. This should be against the law. And I wrote to Congress last year.
It is against the law.
And I provided those names of those websites. And I mean,
the crime is not having a name of somebody say you're doing that. I mean, you could say you're running a poppy or a opium processing facility and all that. Man. All that's not going to get you one citation. But don't let it go out the door, and then there's a problem. So
I wanted to mention that there are people out there that are doing good things on behalf of animals and exposing these things. One guy I found on TikTok is on YouTube. It's The Real Paul Mueller, and he exposes animal cruelty, animal abuse, and stuff like that. The other one is Shark, showing animals.
I have one of their videos on the sheriff in Lee County, yes, his illegal cockfighting operation.
Cockfighting, yeah.
Look, that's animal cruelty. We got dog fighting situations, cockfighting still going on. And people just have a problem equating with, well, I don't know. I really, Lorraine, cannot just for a moment get in the mind of a fool and to try to understand where the hell they're coming from on their comprehension. The ones that go down there and pull the lever to put these clowns in there. I mean,
they're sadistic. They have sadistic tendencies, a sadistic personality disorder. It is such a thing. And they get joy. They get pure joy. They get a high. It's almost like an addict, you know, with that snorts cocaine or whatever. These people get off on tormenting,
right,
and brutalizing and torturing animals and people.
Right.
They get off on it. It makes them smile. Unfortunately, these are not. I call them inhumans for a reason. They do not possess the qualities that a human, quote unquote, possesses, which makes them inhuman.
Right.
They're not like you and I, and it's very hard to wrap your mind around it. But their personality disorder, they will never be like you or I. Never.
No, it's I was it just tongue in cheek. I think there was a person you was talking about, but about somebody was mentioned to me, said, "What, don't you want to try to move somewhere where they're not doing that?" I said, "Absolutely not. That is the furthest thing from my mind." I said, "So, you know, maybe I'm a sadomasochist. I go out and if they're not out there in mass doing stupid shit, it pisses me off, and I expect it because that's how I get content, and that don't try to starve me to death." And so, and they can't help themselves. You call them everything but a child of God, they are going to get out there and color coordinate and get everything else going on. And
well, this is happening in every state. This is not isolated to a rural community.
Yeah, you're right there.
However, in communities, the depressed communities, they're more likely to join these stalking groups because they want to bring in money and they're bored. They've got nothing else going on in their lives. They're not creators, you know. People who create, they don't need to harass and stalk, surveil other people. They're too busy with their own lives. These people can't create for themselves, so they have to steal from others, steal their lives, steal their loot, steal their animals, steal their possessions, watch them. I mean, these are sadic. They're addicts. They're obsessed.
Peeping Toms used to be something that was taboo. You didn't do that. But it's not. It's business as usual. Voyeuristic perverts. When you post up a drone and right there at your window, other than being a peeping Tom pervert that is on the list of community people that the sheriff is well aware of and what they're doing, what else? What other reason would they be looking in the window? And to look into when you're bathing and all that. I've caught them doing all that, and that's what that tells you something. And what they do is, well, that's just part of our deal. We just, we've got our eyes closed really when we're at the windows, and then we take the blindfold off, we back out. What the hell they're saying? Well, people say, why is he calling closet queer? I'm not telling you that's why. Because that's what they are. I can't figure out how any of them got a woman or any women got them. Mostly they pairing up anyway. So especially
well, it's also about having power over another person or an animal.
Absolutely.
And I belong to a lot of mailing lists and stuff, and I just pulled one up here, and this is it's a Take Action newsletter, Animal Victory. And so I get alerts on all the perverts out there that do nasty things to animals, and then the victory. So this sadistic man cut off kittens' tails.
Yeah, I read that.
And threw them at a woman during a dispute. This is a revenge thing. This is a sadistic.
And get this, their handlers know their handler is a sociopath. And they know they're not telling these crash dummies. You really are a crash dummy. and we do have three of our crash dummies get their lights put out. They're not giving them those numbers. Not everybody's going along with this thing. Now, you go read a different story, but I'm telling you, everybody's not going along with that. I even think that you got something to do with doing something for my animals.
Well, listen to this. In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a 34-year-old man admitted to strangling 3 cats in 2023. He's killed 7 more cats and kittens while on parole.
Yeah.
His name is Corey Martinson. He has a twisted propensity for killing cats, and he seems to make a game out of acquiring them and
he's not locked up, is what you're saying.
Injuries.
He's not killing them in prison. He's killing them out there in the streets.
Oh, these are sick people. So these are not isolated incidences. This is happening across the country.
It's happening, but of course the fake media, they're not going to report on it. I mean, it's just they'd rather report on why this transvestite in Tanzania should be circumcised, and why we need to spend $100 million to see that happens, and who in the hell is Elon Musk to cut the budget? That's the things they're worried about. But as far as these peeping Tom cross-dressed perverts with badges, and these morons color coordinating their cars and all this other horse shit, well, we just that's the elephant in the room they can't see.
Well, unfortunately, all of the people that are involved in these COPS program, these community watch groups, these fusion center operatives, they are, under the guise of quote unquote national security. They sign off on the non-disclosure agreements so that nobody can question them. The sheriff's department protects them. They can commit felony crimes and get away with it. And
do it all the time. And the first ones to cry foul if a victim dare defend themselves. And I'm going to. I mean, they know that. So
the FBI paid informants in an exorbitant in 1 year, an exorbitant amount of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And during that time, they committed felonies, misdemeanors. None of them got charged. So here we have intelligence agencies allowing people to commit crime and paying them to do it. I mean, it's what's going on in this world.
Well, it's I believe God's word, and I've read the back of the book, and I know what's going to happen. And also, in real time, I have a pretty good visual about this part. Depart from me, I never knew you. Adios, muchachos. That part. That they believe, since they want to ignore history. That's I don't know if you're familiar with that mindset. Lorraine, is these people. That's another common thread of these people, these Satanists, posing and not Satanists, will push back at something to do with history and say, I'm not paying attention to history. I'm paying attention to making our own history, to the future of doing things. So that will be the history, something along that line. If you encountered that before or heard that, in other words, the old rule of thumb is, at least history repeat itself. We see the past, we'll make mistakes in the future. They're taught to ignore this. We're not going to base anything off the past. We're going to base everything off of right now and what we're going to do tomorrow. I just can't wrap my mind around that.
Well, a lot of people don't have a conscience. They lack empathy. They don't care about you or me or animals or whatever. If somebody tells them to do something, they'll do it. Also, in certain
between 2012, between 2012 and 2000, my assistant's helping me here. thank you, 2012 to 2018, that the FBI paid out over $548 million to snitches.
That's right.
That were convicted criminals, drug dealers, and people allowed to commit crimes while the FBI on the FBI payroll. The DOJ Inspector General exposed major failures oversight these informants, including one who was paid over $1 million while engaging in illegal activity.
Absolutely.
And this is and these are people with badges that voted Make America White again, and thinking, I believe a lot of them thinking, well, you know, we're not, that's not us that you're talking about, and that is talking out both sides of their head for real. Yeah, it is. You don't care who you voted for.
Well, the American people are not aware of this because nobody talks about it. Mainstream news doesn't talk about it. Every once in a while, you'll get to see a little clip of it by somebody like you or me or Redacted or whatever. But you're not going to see it in the mainstream news. They're not going to talk about it. The only other thing was Tulsi Gabbard did fire a bunch of perverts at the NSA. She discovered that during work time they were scrolling through the internet and pornography.
Well, so yeah, and they send that to people. Hi, this is Publishers Clearinghouse, wherever damn lies put, they click it open, and they don't know what happened until about 2 years later. And all of a sudden it's on their computer. They didn't know about it and get and run them. And they're the ones, they're the pipeline, not for the dope, but for the porn and any other thing that you can imagine. And folks, they're the pipeline. They're the conduit for it. These crimes, most crimes that you hear reported that people are getting around, we see on the 6 o'clock news, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it's not an organic crime. In other words, it was a propped up prop job.
Absolutely.
And it's an ironclad because they build it and then prosecute on it. And when everybody is willing to go along with the deal, you got a snowball chance in hell.
Yes, there's very little organic crime, and that was a good word that you used there. It's not happening naturally.
No.
It's being instigated.
Yeah, if this community deal was working, right? Then why in the hell we still got a crime problem? Why does it get worse? Why does it get more diabolically evil? And
right.
why? Because we got to hire more police. We got to build more prisons. We got to build more jails. We got to put in, take away some more civil liberties. And you shouldn't have a problem with us requiring everybody to have a solid glass front wall on their house, and that be the one that they live in where we can drive by and see everything. Don't you want to be in a safe neighborhood? And that kind of people go like, well, yeah, they sign off on that.
Well, unfortunately, because of this, it appears to me that like the younger law enforcement people, they're being trained improperly to be of the misguided belief that they can just attack anybody that they want, and they off people's doors. No, I watched way too many of these cop auditor videos, and it's like it's off the charts. You know, like I watched a civil rights lawyer, Lackluster, and those.
Yeah, people. I like and civil rights lawyer, and of course,
yes,
Freeman is my favorite.
Yeah, and then here's the deal, and all the.
And here's the deal, right?
There are so many of them, and they share each other's videos and stuff. But the bottom line
don't forget Don Andre is I've had.
The bottom line is that a lot of these police officers, they're overreacting. They have really bad training. They use their weapons and force too quickly. It's like
they're trained, Lorraine, as they're subduing, and some people do need subdued. And far be it from me to have to say that. And when there's not a cop around, I don't have any problem with handling that part of it. But I'm not going to do what they're trained to do. And they're trained when they're subduing them, beating them down with whatever the hell they beat them down with, is to say, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting. It's a reflex.
Yes, exactly.
That's all.
They're trained to say that. The person could be the person could be unconscious on the floor.
It could be a 21-year-old in Columbus, Mississippi.
Yeah, exactly.
The 21-year-old Columbus, Mississippi was having a seat. Never took dope. That ain't that crowd that drink. Parents called. He's having a seizure. They send the SWAT team out there and beat the hell out of him, destroy the house, put him in the hospital with irreparable damage. And you know what they're going to do to that sheriff's department and those people for beating this innocent young man? Not one damn thing.
Well, the only thing that is positive is that there are people like the civil rights lawyer that are sharing this information, and they are getting cops fired. They are filing lawsuits, and people are winning. They're getting, a lot of exposure.
That's right. And that's what I'm saying, folks. It's not all doom and gloom. They want you to believe that they are absolutely the crown jewel of what's going on in America. And no.
It's horrible.
It just happened to be the biggest thing floating around in the damn toilet, and people are putting their hands on that silver lever and pulling it. That's where they are in the makeup of this country.
It's really off the charts, and they're also doing it to homeowners' animals, pets. Like if they enter the home, they have unalived a lot of pets and stuff. But getting back to the rituals and stuff, a lot of people, they need to perform these rituals to get to the next level in whatever club that they belong to.
Right.
They're being paid to do it. And I will tell you as a fact that in New Jersey, in Manalapan, New Jersey, when I had the Pine Brook Care Center feral cat colony, all of which I trapped and brought with me here to Kentucky, they were performing rituals on my cats, and I found the ritual device. Years later, I blew up the photo. They took a healthy cat, a black cat, a young black cat, and they pummeled her in the head through her eye. And then they did it to another cat. They actually tore her eyes out on Christmas Day and left her out on the street, the entrance there. Beer bottles and cans and stuff all around her. So people are being paid to do this.
Since I've been having my nose in this deal over in Mooreville, that they just don't like, that they don't like, them assholes show up masked, and I could give a tinker damn. But because I know that it's not physical warfare with these people. You can't melt pull them on somebody. They'll show up in numbers. Can't get none of them to get a backbone to step up to the plate. They're cowards. But the satanic element of this, I'm not superstitious. And I love getting around superstitious people. I do my damnedest to find a ladder to roll under, break mirrors, do anything I can. I'm not into demonic superstition, which that's what it is. But 3 times on the way, not once, not twice, but 3 times, that the black cat was shot across the road in front of a black cat, and that is these animals that they are sticking crap in and jolting them and making them respond is not new to me. Okay, and so I don't know what they try to other than showing their hand. I know what's up. And that's why I hadn't been spooked off, boys, because I'm going to put some faces and names and attach them to what we're talking about with these satanic, ritualistic animal killings and abuse in Mooreville, Mississippi. Okay, I'm gonna stay in it until hell freezes over, but I'm gonna do that. And I'm telling you, I'm so close to it now, I can smell it. You believe that?
Well, getting back to the primary reason you started this Zoom call is that dog.
Right. Yes.
Obviously has been implanted. The photo that you showed me.
Yeah.
Showed various stitches in a way that a veterinarian doesn't stitch like that. And you can see under the surface, it appears to be like a little square metal device.
Right.
Under the skin of the dog.
Right. And hopefully I've got that on the string. We'll have it on the string several times. But it is, and it looks like it's slightly irritated, but you can see that metal, and you can see that these stitches are not. I don't why they would use nylon. Do you? And perhaps I'm thinking that maybe those are serving as some kind of antenna for whatever's under that. Can you see that?
A vet, yeah, I've never seen a vet stitch like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, those are not three. The number three is symbolic, is it not? In witchcraft.
Yes, it is. And those knots,
The
those
knot.
are very bizarre knots.
Yeah, that's not a knot of that a trained veterinarian would use. So
No,
in other words,
no,
this is somebody that that's not a trained professional's work there. And you can see
I have had
dozens
of cats get spayed and have stitches, and I have never seen a stitch like that on an animal. Never.
And me either. This is
that was not done by a veterinarian.
No, it wasn't done by a veterinarian, and it's a sick, sadistic individual and individuals that do this, and but thank God that there's a lot of things that they say there's not a cure for. There is a cure for these type of individuals. I'm satisfied there is one.
Well, unfortunately, what you're showing me there, they do things like this to targeted individuals. They'll break into your house, knock you out with scopolamine or radio frequencies, and they perform surgical procedures on targeted people in their homes.
I've heard that, and when I first heard that, I said, "Well, these people are delusional," and but I have to. I don't think I've been singling anybody out on that, but all things are back on the table as far as I'm concerned.
Well, Karen Stewart even testified on one of her videos recently that I posted on my channel.
This is an image where there a magnet is being ran over this. Not just any kind of magnet, but ran over this dog, and as the magnet, and I'm gonna have to put that up there. As the magnet gets close to that, you can see a slight tugging of the skin.
Yeah, that'll make an animal sick. But anyway, Karen Stewart and other targeted people have reported missing organs
from the animals.
No, from their bodies.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, you're kidding.
Humans.
Wow.
Targeted individuals. Yes.
Hannibal Lecter.
They implant us. They poison our food, our environments. And yes, they will covertly perform surgical procedures on targeting people.
Yeah. Let me tell you, folks, these people, I had one guy tell me several years ago. I asked him what he was doing. He said, "Well, my new job is to carpentry and so forth is to put things in places that don't look like there's something in that place." It's kind of a riddle, and I thought, well, you got all the damn sense. And so, of course, there's a spot for all these morons and and these criminals, soulless pathetics that we after COVID, after that deal blew over, if not Walmart, none of these places are open 24 hours a day. People still can't get help. Nobody's drawing unemployment. So where are all these people working? We're talking about where all these people are working. That's how they get money.
I don't know. I know that I think that with the way the economy is, more and more people will be recruited to harass other people, but won't even know exactly what it is that they're doing.
No, and when they go off on somebody that's not on the deal, then by proxy, they've turned that innocent person, bystander, into a hater of the person being targeted. That's the reason they operate and blend in to try to make the target feel the whole world's in on it, which they're not. But every now and then, the innocent bystander get cussed out. And I try to have that disclaimer. I said, don't take it out on me. You need to take it out on these assholes that are running things and that swore an oath and told a lie that running this deal and got everybody looking crazy. That's who you need to holler at, not me.
Yes. Yeah, it's a horrible, horrible program, and unfortunately, we're exposing it every day. People are providing so many testimonies about what happens to them, and there's a theme across the board. And yes, they do harm your animals, steal your animals, poison your animals, experiment on them.
Is there any nonprofits, big ones like PETA, that are being vocal about this, or is it?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I mean, is there any other large known nonprofits like PETA that is being, and they're, of course, you know.
I can't really think of any offhand.
I'd like to know where all the vegans, all these vegan Nazis are that want to throw red paint on somebody that's got a fur coat. Where in the hell are they on this subject, right?
A lot of these activist groups have been threatened. Some of them were jailed for doing some of the things that they did. So they've backed off a little bit.
They're not trying to save the whales anymore either, are they?
What?
Save the whales? They never think about a whale.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's people, I guess, when they target you, it's save your own self and damn the family. You know, it's every man for himself.
And that's why we expose. This is why we have these conversations. This is why we talk about it. This is why we share photos and images, because we need to wake other people up, because a lot of people are targeted by these crimes and they just don't know it. I watched a YouTube creator today. I haven't watched him in a long time, but you know, there are a lot of creators out there. They don't know that they're targeted, but a targeted person with
and they know people have said, well, they're out there or whatever, on dope or some bogus diagnosis, paranoid schizophrenia. It's a made-up deal.
Oh, that's all bullshit.
Manic depressive. Okay, manic depressive. You can't say manic depressive anymore. Or manic.
If somebody is accusing you of that, like in your chat or whatever, that is obviously a perp. You don't suddenly become schizophrenic in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It just doesn't happen. And it's one of those diagnoses that's totally overdiagnosed. And back in my day, because I'm old, back in my day, there was a psychiatrist, R.D. Lang, and his theory was that schizophrenia, or the symptoms of schizophrenia, were a defense mechanism to trauma, that it wasn't a psychiatric problem.
Right.
It's a defense mechanism. We all have defense mechanisms.
Well, don't you think that Big Pharma plays a role in furthering the narrative? We're going to be doing this. We need a name for this, and y'all get to make medication for this, and blah blah blah. Is that not a money making scheme?
I just want to give you a heads up that I have an unstable network right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So what that means, and I get this also in my live chat, that we will start to buffer.
Oh yeah, so, they've already hit me a couple times. They're haters, and haters are going. Yeah. Haters are going to hate. I mean, it's but let me tell you, God sees it. He's not. He is not abused one bit. And the reason you're on here still, Lorraine, the reason I'm still on here, is because God saw fit for that to be the deal. And if these people were right, Lorraine, if they were right about how bad that targeted individual is, and they've got access to all that, I can't understand why they haven't bothered to figure out a way to actually stop them. when tens of thousands can't stop one person, that's something tells me something is wrong with that deal. They said, well, that's not really happening. But we're not, so we're past that conversation. But
well, unfortunately, the incidents of targeted individuals, people on a watch list, on the blacklist,
right.
or whatever, non-investigative subjects or whatever,
Right.
is increasing every day. And the FBI whistleblower Stephen Friend, he even wrote about it in his book that that's one of the reasons why he left the FBI, because he was being forced to surveil, harass, and place innocent people on these watch lists.
Yeah, you know, right. Some people go with their convictions, and you know, it's that conviction of right or wrong, I believe is all centered around a true moral compass, which only God can be a true moral compass. Outside of that, you got a compass. It is not a true moral compass. That's a different definition. And therefore, you have a lot of leeway to accept things that are absolutely God forbidden. Period. And I just don't believe that there's loopholes for that. I mean, it's somehow they have figured that out. And you know, we said we're a nation of values, a nation founded on godly principles, and I'm quite sure there were godly people in the framing. I believe God was in it, but He wasn't the only one in it. There were Freemasons in it too. They're not godly.
No. Well, unfortunately, these abuses are increasing in scope across the globe, especially in the United States, and they need to be exposed. And more people are speaking out and providing testimonies and evidence. And
I'll tell you, I really do appreciate what you do there with animals that. And I know that it takes a call. It takes a special person to be able to deal with that. That these are God's creatures. God put these creatures here for us not to do what the devil wants to destroy everything God created. And when if someone's happy or anything makes them happy, or anything associated with that, the devil hates it. And this
right, that's very
that's
true.
why they attack it. And you're dealing with that. But to have to be a single lady out there on this place and to have these animals and not be able to protect them that's a tall order, ladies and gentlemen. That is something that in America should we be having this conversation? That
yeah, it's
not bothering anybody out there. She's taking care and rescuing animals that have been abused and neglected or have nothing, and that we need more people like that in society. But do you believe that there are people right there in rural Kentucky that hate every aspect of what I just told you? And the same people here in Itawamba County, Mississippi, on the same mindset.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. They have gone into the cat's building, burned holes, scraped the wood. They have scraped, sliced the cat's bedding, tore out the insulation. You know, the cushions from a lot of their bedding. Just sliced them out.
It's pure evil, and I just.
Oh, it's unbelievable. They've sliced up all the cat trees. This is not normal. I've been rescuing cats since I'm a little girl. You know, we're talking about 60 years here.
Yeah. They want you to abandon what God's put in your heart to do.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
It's sometimes I don't question it. I tell people, what do you need? What I need for you to do is continue to pray, and I'm satisfied. God knows exactly what I need. And thus far, Lorraine, he's been true to that. All the way down to what we're doing right now. It would be absolutely a affront to God Himself if I sat on my hands and refused to talk about this this element of what's going on in every town and community in America.
Yes. Yes.
That's the underlying deal.
And you know what? It takes you know, an act of bravery and courage to speak up and you know, talk about this publicly and stuff. But the way I look at it is, every sheriff in this country, almost all of them, I'll say, really sold out this country.
National Sheriff's Association, National Police Chiefs Association, totally. National Fire Chiefs Association, in tandem, what you just said, yes.
Because Stephen Friend from the FBI said that it is the sheriff that allows these disgusting federal programs into their community.
He's the chief law enforcement officer of that. He is the chief. That's his deal. He has to say whether or not the feds or anybody else comes in there, any other policing of any sort has to fall under the chief law enforcement, which is the sheriff. Period. They can't say they don't have. If they're allowing it, then that means they're complicit. They're part of it. Period.
Exactly, and that's basically what he said. He said, if you've got a sheriff that allows these programs in their community, he's corrupt.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Well, I've been saying, and I'm going to continue to say it, because it's the truth. If it was anything other than that, it ain't got anything to do with personal, or what I like or don't like, it has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with what we're talking about. These crimes that are done, it's not a one-off, it's not every now and then. That is a way of life.
Right. Well, you know, it turns into a way of life for these people. Crime pays, right? These are criminals. It's a criminal organization. And that's the way I look at it. They're criminals.
Of course, right. They are.
Surrounded by criminals.
Right.
It's organized crime.
I do things would we be getting bad and as time rolls on. I just, you know, as a child, I couldn't imagine the America that I grew up in or thought I was living in. It's not it's not nothing like that. It's not the America I thought it was. Oh my God, is it not?
It's going to get worse. Actually, it's going to get worse. And there's I guess a retired CIA guy on YouTube, and I don't remember his name or whatever. But I did see his interview, I guess last year, and he said that he absolutely plans on leaving the country by 2027. That's a shame.
I don't know where they're going to go. But there are places, folks, that are more, we think, well, this is the freest country, the freest country on the planet. My ass, you think you're free. Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. I mean,
children to wear a muzzle.
Before I became targeted, I have to say, I'll admit, I was very naive about.
You believed all that too, didn't you? I did.
You know, about the United States, about politics. I was not interested. I didn't watch TV and stuff. I didn't know what the FBI did. I didn't know anything at all. I had no idea until I became targeted. And then, you know, fast forward, you know, educating myself about all of these things. And I was always involved with animal advocacy and stuff, but I didn't realize how extensive the crimes against animals are.
I know. I didn't. Lorraine, I feel like that I'm going to do better. I mean, you know, I know it's the people. I've seen it. I've interviewed people, Lorraine, that are dead now, that were fearing their life. It said this is going to happen, and I tried to warn and talk to the sheriff, the FBI, didn't want to hear it, and after it ended up dead, it still didn't want to hear it. And so I'm stuck on that. Meanwhile, they're doing these other things that are clear indicators that we got a problem, Houston, and not just an isolated problem. They're trying to hit my internet connection. The devil is a damn lie.
It's well, we're exposing the targeting every day, and that's all we can do right now. And smile and share, have these conversations and stuff. But
absolutely,
thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, it's
Lorraine, I appreciate you. I mean, it was just a impromptu, heavy warning, and I don't have to do near as much as I think you need to do, but people have seen you on other videos, and if anybody that needed their face on here other than mine, besides mine, is hers. I should have been on the black screen and seen her face, but that wasn't the deal today. Folks, I appreciate you. For those that stay through this, I get carried away, and I want you to go to Lorraine's channel, and she is absolutely knows what she's talking about, and I've not seen anything of hers that just wasn't captivating and educational, and so it's a good place to go. And if you want somebody that's knowledgeable, that's not chasing a conspiracy or a hocus pocus BS, it's going to tell it like it is and support that, then that's Lorraine. Lorraine, I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you.
And folks, y'all remember to share, subscribe, like, and welcome your comments down below. And next time, God bless.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.